Right. Good day, everybody. Good day, those who are watching from wherever you are. I am Agustinus Ngombe, an author, public speaker, and business leadership consultant. As an author in the area of being intelligently emotional, today we are going to look at emotional intelligence for professionals. So the key objectives we are going to look at is to define emotional intelligence, and then we'll be looking at the key concepts like the purpose identification, self-awareness, self-regulation, empathy, motivation, and social skills. So these key components, they make up the broader term called emotional intelligence. You cannot be emotional intelligent if you have not identified the purpose of your existence, and you cannot be emotionally intelligent if you are not self-aware. You need to know yourself and you need to regulate yourself. You need to have empathy and you need to be able to know where the drive comes from and to relate with other individuals. We'll go into details as we move further. The significance of emotional intelligence at work. So we need to know that we come from different backgrounds. We have got different viewpoints, and we are ambitious human being, or we are ambitious creatures that exist on earth, and we have got a level of understanding of every aspect of subject that we deal with at work, whether it's the expertise, whether it's the new skills that is being introduced, whether it's the environment. So we always have different level of understanding, and life has different seasons. You will never be at the same seasons, all of you in the workplace. Some will be in a seasons maybe of harvest, the others may be at the seasons of sowing, the other could be in the seasons of weeding. But you must all coexist and live in harmony, not to be able to have lots of frictions or have unnecessary conflict. And we should also know that there are struggles and life challenges that emerges in our lives, and we carry them over when we are to go to work, and this could affect our performance. And hence, we need to be emotionally intelligent to be able to manage or control all these factors. Now, if we are to define emotional intelligence, there are so many different emotional intelligence definitions out there. But for today, we'll be looking at it as the capacity to accept the consequences that accompany the choices we make, and to choose proactively courses of action that are beneficial in creating peace for the greatest number of people who are affected by our choices. So if you look at this a broad definition, it covers different area. For instance, we can break it into smaller pieces, where if we start with the first one, which is the capacity to accept consequences, meaning before you make a decision, you might have already analyzed to find out the consequences that your decision will have on you and on other people. And once you have gone to that space to understand that for every decision there will emerge a consequence, it does not matter whether it's bad or good, then you will then consider the action that you will take, and see how it will be able to be beneficial to both you and the number of people who surround you. So if you cannot get to that level, you will not be able to make decision intelligently. But if you are to go ahead of that and live in the future before you make a decision, then you can be considered to be emotionally intelligent. So this at work, most of the time we are told you must leave your emotions by the door as you enter into the working place. But you need to understand that I think we were best going to be taught or advised if we were to be taught that we need to manage our emotions when we come to work than leaving the emotions and wear professionalism when you are to come into the working place. You cannot isolate professionalism from emotions, from you as an individual, because all of them, or all these angles, they make you the best version you are. So it's the emotions and the skills or capabilities that you have combined that makes you who you are as an identity. So the moment you are told leave this one and marry only one of them, then it affects you, because you will then be operating as an object, as a robot, and not as a human being. Simply put, where others where are others when you are thinking of yourself, when you are to be operating in the space of being intelligently emotional? So before you make a choice, you think of where you are, the position where you are in as based on the choice that you're about to make, and where are the other individuals within that scope of decision. Then it makes it very, very inclusive. You don't need to be a leader to be this, because you are a puzzle piece. You must fit into the puzzle. If you do not fit into the puzzle, you will not be able to be comfortable working within that workspace. So let's look at the purpose identification. A story told about a lion cub that was once lost. You know, this lion cub was lost, and the mother, or the lioness, could not be able to locate this cub, and then it was lost and rescued by a farmer. It was then fed milk and raised with sheep. It lost a touch with its nature of being a king of a jungle. Its thinking process was to assimilate to that of sheep, because that is the only environment on which it was exposed, until it met one day, once it was a bit grown, it then met a lion at the water point. Through the reflection on the water and the sound of the roar, was similarly with our purpose that we always have in life. You can then imagine what happened when it saw this male lion drinking water, and you know the sound that came thereafter from this lion. It felt lost, it felt confused, because it was used to be hearing the sound of the sheep, and this it saw a stranger instead of seeing part of the family on which or from which it belongs. So this this male lion roared as a signal to indicate to this little cub that it needed to come back home, which is the jungle. But it got scared, and and it went back to the nature of having to associate with the sheep. But because it have seen the image reflected in the water, it then began to question itself, because now when it goes and live among the sheep, it doesn't look like the sheep. The sheep look different from it. So this kept on going on as it keeps on meeting this lion alongside the water point, until one day it decided to respond to the call that it needed to try. But for it to be able to move from the sheep or from the farm into the jungle, it was a very big transition, because the jungle was a very strange kind of environment for it, as compared to the kraal where it lived with the sheep, because there is no fear of danger and all those other things. So this is how our purpose get to be related to us. Sometimes you might hear individuals complimenting you at work, about what you are doing, and you get to wonder, is this me they are referring to or someone else? Why? Because sometimes we unconsciously operate on the potential that we have, which we were meant to be able to release, and we do not fully understand the source and the origin from which it's coming from. And you know, you get confused. Who am I? What am I? What was I meant to do? And what is really the purpose of me being at work? It doesn't matter whether you are working in the office, you are working in the classroom, or you are in the field. So you need to identify your purpose in order for you to operate to the fullest. Right. Who you are and why you exist is very, very crucial. It's very important that each one of us know who we are and the purpose of our existence. Life is more than just a mere existence on earth. It's not about breathing in and breathing out. So work is also more than having employee code. So you are not there present at work to just get this employee code, which is an identification when you are to be looked at the payroll. So why we exist is always made known to things that make us be in our element and things that irritate us. So you might be at work, and most of the time you walk into the corridor or you walk into the office and you find files that are scattered. You get to be so upset because for you, you feel like the files were supposed to be organized neatly and in an alphabetical order. So if you are put in the administration environment, you do better, because then for you it's finding the information means order, and finding this information means you must maintain neatness. And you might find other individual that, you know, when they find something that is broken, for them they get to be restless. They want to find a solution to fix it. And but they do not relate to themselves as, you know, technicians who were supposed to fix certain things. um, and the other thing is that then the never dying voice in us that jumps when we see those who resembles us or who resembles you, and irritated when who and what we are is compromised. So that is a reminder of where the interlinking of purpose and potential that exist. If you might have realized that the role model, the people that we call as role models, are the people who resemble the undying voice that is always in us, that defines who we are. This is why we are not attracted to every individual, or this is why we do not look up to every individual, but we look up to individuals who have certain shared values, individuals who have got certain commonalities with us. So it's important that when we identify these people, we get to learn and sharpen who we are in order for us to jumpstart from the position where we are to move to point B. It may be called intuition or intrinsic value, but this is the purpose why you exist on earth. So then this leads us to the self-awareness. You need to know yourself. Being conscious about who you are is very crucial, because you would not be cheated to trade your values, your core values that defines who you are, your core characteristics that makes up who you are, when you really know who you are. And when you know who you are, you cannot be misled or be negatively influenced to make wrong decisions, because you would then understand where you are coming from, where you are and where you are headed to. And you will also understand that anything that you do would either contribute to building you or will contribute to breaking you. So you would also know who to associate with and who not to associate with, so that you do not waste time into doing certain things that do not pertain your purpose. So knowing your strengths and weaknesses makes you to even strategize or map out the growth path that you are going to follow in order for you to get to the point where you want to be. And understanding your abilities and alignment to the purpose of your existence. So sometimes we over expect life to give to us what we are not putting into that system of life. But then the secret to the existence and the growth on this planet Earth is that knowing your abilities and knowing your purpose would then bring the alignment and the synchro that will enable you to know how to handle certain activities and why you have to deliver certain activities at a specific time. Why do you need to obey to certain rules? Why do you need to obey to certain code of conduct? And you know, if your purpose is maybe activism, and you are at work where you are bribed to be silent on issues that you keep raising up because you see that other individuals are mistreated. So because of knowing the abilities that you have and knowing the purpose, you would rather work towards making sure that the purpose of your existence is fulfilled than having to just get to rely on your abilities. So it's important to know that you being capable of doing certain thing does not automatically put you into the purpose fulfillment. But unless and until you understand the purpose of existence and you all align these abilities and purpose of your existence, then you will be able to fulfill the main reason why you exist on earth. So this makes you effective in whatever job you do. It eliminates time wastage, so you won't spend time on unnecessary things. You will always be on check to regulate yourself, that you do not overspend time on certain activities and neglect certain activities, of which all have got common things to make you become the best version of yourself. It improves your relationships, as you will then know your yeses and your nos. Most of the time in life, I've met people who know how to say yes and they do not know how to say no's. But what makes you the best, in as much as yeses are there, but no's are also very, very crucial, because they set the boundaries that other individuals can only go as far as these, and this is their limit, not to access your vulnerable and pressure points, because individuals take advantage of others. Narcissistic individuals are real and they exist. So if you do not really take care of yourself, the narcissistic individual will be able to take advantage of you and they will break you. Then we move to self-governance. Knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom. I'll repeat that again. Knowing yourself, or knowing thyself, is the beginning of all wisdom. That is what Aristotle, one of the philosophers in Greece, once said, and it makes a lot of sense even today. So this is the ability of us looking in our mirror of intrinsic values and align the results against our inputs. Whenever you wake up to look in the mirror, do you see beyond your face? Do you see beyond your hair and your nose? Or you only see the physical outlook and you don't get to see what makes who you are, the inner being that you are, which is very, very important, because the physical body, the physical being grow weary, it gets tired, it may be destroyed. But the strongest you that people do not know is that one which lays inside of you, the one that is so powerful that not even the prison can be able to cage you, and not even guns are able to threaten you, and not even threat can be able to do what it can be able to do. So the courage to set parameters and principles on which your life will be run. So you need to then set up principles and parameters which would then tell as to what you are going to do and how you are going to run your life. So if you do not have principles, you do not have boundaries, you do not have got rules for your life. So it is as if a house that is situated in the farm, but it does not have got fencing. So if this house or this homestead is within the farm and it's not fenced, the animals can come in and out of that homestead to an extent that they may be able to even enter into the household without any limit. I could have introduced you. There's an example of the organization there that may I introduce you to yourself. The same way you see the company which you work into, that is how you are. So if you see the company that you are into as a horrible company, remember that a company is not a birthright, but it's a choice that we have made as an individual, to say, I want to go for this. Something from within have related to what this company stands for. Even if nowadays it's becoming common that you get to be too desperate that you just want any source of income, then you end up in a certain organization or the company. But what is important is that there is always something that speaks to you that is related to this company that you always are attracted to, that makes you to choose this organization over many, many other organizations. So if this company has a strategic plan and code of conduct, you need it more and for yourself first. So the reason why code of conduct and strategic plans are very important is because strategic plan tells you where this company is going to, the whole map, from what point, where are they coming from historically, where are they in the present, and where they are headed to in the future. So this is a clear guide to you to tell you if where you are headed to as an individual is where the company is headed to, or if the company is able to take you there through the contribution that you are to make. And the code of conduct makes sure that there is fairness, there's transparency, there's accountability. So there's a high relationship between the governance code, rules and principles, and emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence doesn't mean lawlessness. Emotional intelligence doesn't mean having to succeed out of sudden things or accidental things. Emotional intelligence means having intentional plans guided by the rules and principles for you to be able to succeed. Because if you do not have rules, how will you be able to then maintain the peace that you were supposed to have amongst the colleagues that you have? Because there's diversity of culture, like I earlier stated. There's a diversity of backgrounds where we are coming from. There's a diversity of understanding. How will you then be able to have common peace and shared value and vision? Unless you have got rules to guide you, you cannot be able to maintain and sustain this. The three prerequisites of self-governance, that is self-discovery, self-reflection, and self-control. So now with this, you must first discover yourself. And when you discover yourself, you would understand why you were made uniquely in the way that you are, why you were designed with the abilities and capabilities that you have. Why are you so different? Is diversity or uniqueness bad or good? If you don't know that, others could be able to abuse you. And the self-reflection in a way that you keep, for the sake of improving, you keep on tracing your steps that you have made. If today you have succeeded to operate a certain machine, and if today you have succeeded interacting with others without you rising conflict, then you get to trace back before you sleep to understand what did you do differently that made it possible. So as you do that, you get to eliminate all the small errors that you keep making. And that is the only scale of growth that makes you become better at governing yourself and governing or coordinating the activities of others as a leader and as the best professional at work. And self-control in a way that you will make guided decisions that are not too harmful for yourself and too harmful for others. There are moments that we feel the blood is boiling and you are about to take a certain action. But self-control reminds you of what would happen if you were to take that action at that specific moment, the damage that it will cause, and the price you will pay to be able to bring to terms what you have destroyed. So then it helps you to keep being in check about yourself. And once you deliver this prerequisite, or once you establish or solidify these principles, then what will happen to you is you'd then, as an individual, keep on not just desiring growth, but working step by step on how you can become the best version you can be today than you were yesterday, and plan further on how you will be the best tomorrow than you are the best today. There are negative factors that influence self-governance, and we all suffer from these. We have got pride, fame, and power. So we all have got the ego. Ego might have been made that you do not become too vulnerable, that you embrace who you are. But then the extra of that makes you become a danger to yourself and others. Because what pride does is it makes your sight blind, it makes your ears deaf, and it makes you to look into the past achievements and never to look into the future, because you only see you and you don't see the means that can take you there. And remember that as an individual, you need other persons to be able to succeed. You learn from every angle of other individuals. And fame in a way that when you are known, when you are trusted by other individuals, you would think that it was out of your goodness that have made them to trust you. And you begin to then look down on individuals, and you become a person who is resistant to rules, to laws, to codes of conduct. And as you do that, you become less obedient and you become less trusted individuals. That's why fame cannot be stored permanently. It can only be sustained. So the humble individuals have always sustained their fame because other individuals trust them. They do not see threat in them. And then power. Power gives you the authority to be able to decide on resources, on time, on who to bring in and whom to get rid of. So when you access this, unless it is well exercised, it will ruin your self-governance. So if power is misunderstood, you can break yourself even when others have lifted you up. So it's always important that we get to be in check all the time. All the time we succeed. We check our pride, we check our fame, we check our power, so that we get to still remain grounded. We still remain principled, and we still remain human, because only this can allow other people into your space. Only this can allow other individuals to speak life into you. Only this can allow others to trust you with more responsibilities and roles, because you then become reliable, because then you become not a threat to others, because then you become a person with good intention that has, or good intentions that have good and positive impact on communities and others. The byproduct of self-governance is integrity, competencies, responsibility, accountability, and transparency. Do not always look at the corporate governance of the company and you end there. You are a big entity yourself. So if the company are having this on their mission and vision, you better get to establish yourself this kind of principles or code of conduct which will help you. Because if you govern yourself well, you become real to yourself, whether others are watching or they are not watching you. But if you do not govern yourself well, you will only do certain good things in public when others are watching. But when they are not watching, you will do the opposite of that. Guess what? The beginning of death of a plant is when the roots get to rot. You may not see them, but it's a matter of time. As they rot slowly, that is how it is losing its ability to hold itself in the soil and to absorb water and to produce its own food. So integrity is very, very important. What others or places that other people do not see, that is where we need to work harder than the places where people are watching us. Because it's easier to be reminded by others, but it's difficult to remind yourself. Competencies in a way that when you self-govern yourself effectively, you would open up to others, or you would even open up possibilities of learning from yourself, because you would, for as long as you are alive, you would never know everything. As you interact with others, you get to learn so many things. And because you know your weaknesses, you will always work towards improving them. Because you know your strength, you will always work towards making other people become best in their strength. And this will become your responsibility, to be able to be reliable, to be able to be dependable. And as you do that, you then allow others to hold you accountable, and you will be able to hold others accountable. And this will open up a black veil that covers, that separates you from other individuals, sometimes even your destiny helpers, will then be able to see through and entrust you with roles and refer you to many other opportunities which may lie ahead of you. So you don't just become good to those whom you think will be able to give you opportunities, but the power of individuals having to trust, rely, and depend on you is greater, because even those that you look down onto, that they will not help you in any way, they could be able to sit in a meeting where individuals or where a person will be looking for your role will be there, and they will be able to mention your name and refer you. And remember that the power of network is not necessarily that you have got more people who are able to give you resources, but you have got more people who can speak positively about you, defend you, and sell you highly to other opportunities which you may not be aware of. And then we've got empathy, a social awareness that deals with an individual's capacity to be cognizant of the emotion or emotional status or state of others. So, do you ever walk into the shoe of other individuals? Sometimes there's always this friction between the subordinates and their bosses, but none of these individuals get to walk into the other person's shoe. If you are a supervisor or a manager, excuse me, take a moment, walk into the shoe of those people that you are supervising. See how it feels. Say this decision to yourself as if you were saying it to your subordinate, and imagine yourself as this subordinate who is taking these instructions. Would it make you feel confident, or it will make you feel less confident? So you can't do to others what you do not want them to do unto you. So better you reserve whatever that is harmful to other individuals, because you know that it's also harmful to you. That is what empathy entails, that you get to feel the pain of others in their absence, and you get to experience the happiness and the joy of others based on the choices that you are making. In a company such as the one that you are working, you may value more logic than feelings, I guess. But like I said earlier on, the skills cannot operate on their own. They are fused into the emotions. You'd still feel the pain, you'd still feel the excitement, you still feel the joy. So if you separate this, it's as if as you are saying, we are destroying the being you are to make you the being you are not. And it doesn't always work, that people get to be frustrated. No amount of money can replace the balance of skills and emotion. So unless we consider both, these individuals will be at work and be frustrated. No matter what nature a company may have, we should not forget that we are first human before we are professionals. So this humanness keep emerging on the surface. It's as if as you're dropping drops of oil into water, oil will always come to the surface. So if we extract the humanness into our professions, we become like a toy that is operating on a certain energy that it is plugged on. We all the time yearn to be understood, and we will forever want to be understood as leaders, as managers, and as just ordinary employees. Being understood is very, very important, that you do anything to ensure that the person who understands you emerge victorious all the time. We still feel and we still relate. Therefore, do not treat us like having to accept the employment offer have killed our humanness. We are still human, and you must treat human the way they are. The work hurdles on empathy. We are promoted into leadership positions merely based on how well we do our jobs and not how well we understand people. This is what Simon Sinek have kept on emphasizing whenever he's talking to the leaders. But the danger of this is that, you know, when a person knows well how to fix a computer and they do not know how to work with people, when they go and supervise individuals, they would want these people to become what they have been. They impose their personalities, their capabilities, their view of life and understanding on other individuals, which then becomes very, very frustrating that the person who was once an effective employee now become a worse leader, a worse supervisor, and a worse manager. But with people, we're not supposed to impose what we are on others. We could have just opened up a school of learning and a possibility of trust and a possibility of empowerment. They will always figure out what can work for them. So we address performance issues with threats and understanding. So if you don't do well, we are going to check you out. And this employee must automatically understand the expectation of the organization and not the organization having to walk into the shoe and ask, where are you struggling and why are you struggling? Where can we help? I want us to understand that we are all going through challenges in life. And it's true, whether we confess them or we do not, whether we profess them or we do not, we do go through challenges and hurdles. And this must be considered, because if they are not taken care of, how are we going to operate effectively? We should be responsive and not reactive. So think ahead of time. Imagine yourself having to get things wrong and then work out strategies on how to be able to reverse the wrong. This is what you hear of in companies, that they're having plan B. If you don't have plan B, you will always get frustrated when plan A does not go well. And then you become reactive instead of you becoming responsive. Our fear is empathetic leaders are taken advantage of. This is what we all believe, that if you are to be nice to people, if you are to understand people, they will take advantage of that. But I want to argue that they are instead respected and difficult to disappoint, these kind of leaders. I mean, they become like family figure, they become trusted figures, they become dependable figure, they become individuals whom we can be vulnerable to, and we get to share those deeper personal relations. How will you be able to just wake up and want to tremble over the person who have been so big to you in your life? You can't do that. It's as if we are to say that if you are to be if your father is to be empathetic to you, then you will take advantage of you, which is not always true. So empathetic leadership is what we need in this time and era, because we are about to lose the humanness that we have. Motivation, we are almost done. We are almost to the end. I think after a few slides, we'll be done. But let's look at motivation. What drives you? How does your environment enables you to accomplish your goals? What freedom do you have to innovate? Are leaders leading people or results? So if you understand what makes you jump out of the bed, even when it's too cold, even when you are hungry, even when you are heartbroken, to report to work, then you will understand how best to deliver that. And if you understand how the environment, remember the motivating factor, it doesn't always mean that when you are into to be in the environment where everything is rosy and good, that you will do well. Sometimes environments that are unfriendly teaches us critical skills that makes us to become the best. I do not wish that individuals get to be in toxic environment, because not all of us are built to endure such pains. But I would also suggest that sometimes when we get ourselves into this, let us sit back, study, and find out why they have gotten to that level and how you can be able to become better within that. And those who emerge great out of those environments, they become stronger and unbreakable. So if you have freedom to innovate, it helps you. Thank goodness. It helps you to be able to bring in new ideas every time you deliver your task. And we wish that the spaces in which you are going to operate, if it's not created to be user friendly, to allow you to innovate, then help that company create this environment. I once had other friends talking about, sometimes we force individuals to be good, but maybe from where they are coming from, how they were raised, they've never experienced goodness in them. So they don't know how to relate to something that is good. Maybe you are the one to come and introduce this goodness to this working environment. So be that first change agent to bring this best into this environment. So if leaders are leading on results, you should then bring that understanding within the leaders that results do not come by themselves, but they are led by people. If we lead people effectively, they will lead effective results. Then lastly, social skills, our ability to relate to self and others with the goal of forming and maintaining relationships. Of course, there are individuals who may have existed, and for them, they are self-made millionaires, they are self-made experts, they are self-made doctors, they are self-made teachers, of which I know it does not exist, because you can't be an island and become the best. You can only be able to interact, form a relationship, that the relationships which will be beneficial, and then it will work in your favor. So this notion of self-worth, self-made, it's not true. It does not exist. So we need other people to be able to achieve whatever goal that we may have. So if you are a business person and you have used bootstrap, but alongside the way, you have found individuals who have helped even to navigate the way to tell you this is the right path. We have referred you to other individuals. So these individuals have contributed to you becoming successful, not you only waking up from the blanket and becoming the best. And even the employee that works for you to be able to earn these billions, these individuals have helped you become that. It's not just yourself. I had my grandfather whom I shared very intimate um, talks in his last days. I was asked to go and accompany him in the hospital because he was very sick, and he would always wake up in the middle of the night to have a conversation with me. But these conversations were never lengthy. It would take us, if long, 10 minutes. And the only thing that he would always tell me, he would say, look, um, you being able to live with people, it does not require you to give a lot of money. It does not require you to be too smart. It does not require you to know everything. It does not require you to visit everyone. It does not require you to have so many things. All it requires you to do is, people that you meet cannot be changed by you. They will change whenever they want. Once you understand that, that is the beginning of you having to relate and stay put with other individuals. Secondly, these people will always be different. Some may be addicted to stealing. Some may be addicted to gossip. Some may be addicted to so many things. But what you need to do is that understand every individual as a unique individual and not the same as others. So when you address them in that respect, you will win their trust, and slowly they will learn from you whenever time allows them or opportunity allows them. And with time, they can change themselves to become maybe something that you might have envisioned them to be. So that have made me always to go in the environment and scan the environment and understand people. So my interest, my curiosity is to always understand individuals as they are. In the working place, you will never find, no matter how effective this company is run, no matter how good this company is, you will never find two people the same. There will always be slight differences, and those slight differences are the unique differences that we need to consider and address them as they are. So in short, social skills is lubricated by self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, and relationship management. So when you create relationship, you don't end there. You must manage them further, so that, and you must sustain them in order for you to benefit from the relationship. Otherwise, a relationship unmanaged is like plants unwatered. It will die natural death. Know what to say, to whom, why, and what time, because it is not what you say, but how you say it that matters, as it determines how you make people feel. And you also remember that wounds from any physical object on your body can heal, but words go a long way, where sometimes they become eternity. So mind what you say and how you say it to people. In conclusion, take a self-audit and find out where you stand. Do you know yourself? Do you take cognizance of how you make others feel? Because when working relationships are improved, we understand each other, and then we form productive and relevant teams. All the best. And from my end, Agustinus Ngombe from Namibia, I love you and wish you the best.